Good afternoon. I apologize for my voice. I've been battling oceans and colds, but I'm delighted to be here to introduce this panel. As you can see, there's a lot at stake here. We've heard the scene set by Jason and Sebastian, and there's a lot at stake because I just heard a second ago that from the traditional PMS and the CRS, there only seems to be space for one in the future. So we have to ask ourselves who it will be. And unlike a Shakespearean tragedy, the acts in this trilogy have not been written yet. They're going to unfold in front of you. So Alice, apologies in advance, but if these guys do a convincing job that it is the PMS who stay forever, then maybe there's no need for a CRS session and maybe we all go to the bar sooner. although I know we're all here for the content, not the bar. Originally, there was no budget for additional seats, and they told me I was too tall, so I was going to sort of move back and forth, but I'll decide. Anyway, we have a great panel for you today. Tanya, let's start with you. You want to introduce yourself briefly?
Sure. Is it afternoon? Afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Tanya Pratt. I'm the head of Opera Cloud Strategy and Product Management at Oracle Hospitality. Obviously, everybody knows Oracle. You call us traditional PMS provider. Let's see if we can bust that myth over the next 30 minutes. I've been in this industry my entire career. Very first job, front desk, many years ago. I actually ran into a colleague that I worked with at the Delta Chelsea Inn in 1997. What are the odds of something like that? So it's an industry that raised me. It's everything that I know. I always say I think it's the best one because it's the one that creates the greatest amount of stories out there in the community. So very much looking forward to being on this panel with my esteemed colleagues. So
thank you, Tanya. Adam?
My name's Adam Harris. I'm CEO and co-founder of Cloudbeds. I'm based in San Diego, so just to let you know, it was 68 degrees when I left. So next time this year is going to look fantastic. My background is not from the hospitality industry. I'm actually an outsider who've now spent 11 amazing years getting to know all you. And the thing that I've learned is, travel shaped me in my life. I've been to 62 countries and absolutely love to travel and love the hospitality experience. But I'm excited to tell you about our platform and some of the things that we're up to. Just quickly show of hands, how many of you all in this audience has seen a Cloudbeds product or a demonstration? Okay, a few. Good. All right, perfect. That's what I expected.
Thank you. Aaron.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am a Louisiana native. I went to the University of New Orleans, so it's very good to be back home. So my background is definitely operations. I waited tables for years and years through college, right around the corner from here. I've worked for Marriott, Hilton, and Omni. I'm a solutions architect currently at Mews.
I've been asked to stand, so I'm going to look down at all of you. But Jacob.
Hi there, everyone. I'm Jacob Messina. I'm the CEO of Stayntouch. I got my start in distribution almost like 15 years ago now, which dates me a bit. But I was with Lowe's Hotels. I like to give Tanya a little bit of a hard time. I started using Opera as my first distribution platform. So I like to joke that she created a monster, and now we're friendly competitors. But distribution is something really important to me and I'm passionate about, so I couldn't be more thrilled to be here talking about it today.
Jacob, I think we bonded over how many,
yes.
who merged more profiles in PMS, I think.
9 to 5 for 6 months straight. That's all I did was merge profiles in Opera. So, you could still do it if you asked.
Yeah.
Excellent. And we're not going to talk about how these profiles merge with the central systems of the chains because that's a completely different debate. But our first question really is, as we said, the scene was set by Sebastian and Jason earlier. If I were to speak to all of you, you'd say, well, of course, PMS, we have check-in, check-out, we have all these functionalities, but we're great because we do distribution as well. So in the 20 years I've been in this industry, I've been hearing about PMS and CRS, and 20 years ago there was like a two-way interface, which was a cool thing. Why do we need two-way interfaces? And more importantly, do we need PMS and CRS in the future? Do we need both?
Sure. So first of all, let me get my Canadian niceness out of the way by saying that there's enough room in the space for all of us. Okay, so I need you to get that out of the way. I think people expect that of me, she's going to be nice. But all kidding aside, so if we kind of think about and it's exactly what Jason said earlier today, is that there were these pockets of information in many, many different places. And whether you were an on-property user or above-property user, there was some sort of a pain point that you had to deal with as a result of these data silos. Reservations made in a single system, it would flow down to you. The guest ends up at the front desk. They're asking you, am I going to get what I think that I bought? The answer could be no. And vice versa. I need to modify something, and now the CRS, being the system of record, maybe in that case, would not have that information. And so these different systems and data silos created a lot of friction for the guest and for the people that had to interact with the guests, regardless of the touch point. So it's really moving these technologies into the cloud that allow for the data to be consolidated and therefore shared across all these different customer touch points to ensure that at no point did the service suffer, regardless of who the guest decided to do business with. So as a PMS provider, that created a great opportunity for us to then extend beyond what was our core competency. Because in reality, it was always in us. Because what is distribution? What is a central reservation system? It has rates, inventory, reservations, maybe some group information, maybe some profile information. And when you think about what a traditional PMS did, it had all of that. It just needed to be extended in order to reach points of demand that maybe previously it could not. So it was a natural evolution beyond what we did really, really well to now allow the hotels to really sell everything that they have on property through many different distribution channels. But it was really the technology that allowed us to do that, followed by people in process, people wrapping their head around the fact that a PMS can actually do something like this, and then introducing processes that will help support whatever needed to happen at these different guest touch points.
Okay, that's very clear. Thank you, Tanya. Technology, clearly the...
You told me 2 sentences only. Was that more?
I didn't count.
Yeah? Okay,
I should have.
I'm sorry.
You can still do 2 sentences that last for 25 minutes. Right, so I think, Tanya's point is the cloud is the difference because beforehand you had a PMS which was tied to one physical property. Now everything is in the cloud. Therefore, what you're saying is PMS can do everything. Adam.
I was told I have to play nice too, so.
Are you Canadian?
I'm not Canadian.
No.
Look, I mean, as an outsider, I saw the same thing. I saw the beautiful artistic design of spaghetti, of all these interconnected lines and data disjointed and systems on systems on systems 10 years ago when I joined this industry, and I still see them today. And our approach was always revenue first. Revenue first was so important. That's the livelihood of every hotel that we help support around the world. And because we were cloud native from day one, distribution is in our DNA. We actually taglined back in 2012, more reservations and happier guests. What that really means is more reservations and better operations to drive guest experience, which are tied to one another. And we have 120 direct connections into every major OTA and demand channel today. That is not a PMS. That is much, much more of a platform. And then when you layer on the guest journey and the guest communication, data insights, intelligence pricing, as well as a robust ecosystem of marketplace connectivity and API, that platform begins to be the brain trust that the hoteliers operate, and it entrusts art of what they're trying to accomplish as a business model. And so we totally agree, but we're still there today. There's too many acronyms in this industry, and we do 14 of those 20 systems that Jason mentioned in one username and password. And so we believe that that is the future. And so whether that is a combination of some of these technologies in tandem or one, it's really yet to be discerned.
All right, so just because you're so nice and I have to keep the animal spirit up here a bit, right? So I think what you're saying is Cloudbeds is PMS and CRS and many more, and we shouldn't stick to these acronyms because we can do all from on-property distribution.
Very much so.
Aaron, what's Mews views?
So we kind of view it from a... Yes, thank you.
It's, English is a very hard language to master. It's like you have bee's knees, Mews views. It's very hard.
I'm still working on it as well.
Yeah.
So we'll get there. We'll get there. So at Mews, we kind of take a versatility approach. So we do have direct connections to Expedia as well as Booking, and we see that 30% of our customers, that's all they have, as well as direct connect to Google Hotel Search. But we service a wide variety of different segments. So what works at a small countryside inn in the middle of nowhere UK isn't exactly what works in downtown New York. So depending on that may be enough for you, or you may need, your Sabres, your SiteMinders, your Travel Clicks. So it's really about that versatility. So we do have a booking engine, we have guest communications, we have guest upgrades. So we have all of that, as well as we have the ability through Open API to go with a best in breed integration partner as well. So it's really choose your adventure. I know that's kind of a fence-sitting answer, but it's really about that versatility depending on what works best for you. There's no one-size-fits-all.
All right. So it depends, in other words. It depends on what the customer wants.
It depends on the type of customer. It depends on their segmentation. It depends on their location, their geography, what their kind of strategy is. Do they need, to be on 5,000 channels? Are they going to get by with just Booking because that's all they want, or it's somewhere in between?
Got it. I'll come back and challenge you a bit more. But first, Jacob, what's Stayntouch's view?
So nobody told me I had to play nice here. So let's start with this. Who here thinks you can run a hotel off a single system or platform?
Well, we heard 65 systems 65. A minute ago.
I don't believe that a hotel can be run on one platform. These are complex properties that have unique business cases, and it's important for hoteliers, as technology becomes more and more prevalent, to be able to pick the systems that work best for their business model. And there's not going to be one system that's able to do that. In the conversation around distribution and whether it's a PMS or CRS, I would say, why does it matter? If you have the connectivity and the integrations between them and it's working in real time, as opposed to, queued interfaces and things like that get delayed, it doesn't matter where ARI sits. They need to be working well together and partnered with one another so that it works. But then you're asking yourself, what is important to me? Is it cost? And I'm going to go with a PMS that has these direct connects just to save me money. Is it reach? Is it convenience across a brand where I can set one thing, build something once, and then it's distributed across many hotels? But that's not something I believe personally a single system is going to be able to solve. And I'm not selling my book or Stayntouch on that. It's just my personal view on distribution.
So we're in a bit of a quandary here, right? Because on one side of the room, I think we're hearing, well, not one system can do everything. And on another side of the room, we're hearing there's a technological evolution and there's no reason why the PMS couldn't be able to do everything. The question I was going to ask, I guess both Tanya and Adam is, well, that sounds great, but then why do we need an Act 2 then? In other words, if you were right, why is it that there are channel managers today and why is it that there are CRSs today, and how soon are you planning on replacing them? And by the way, we're closing off Wall Street for insider trading.
I think we should have had Act 1, 2, and 3 all on the same stage. Yeah. That would have been so entertaining for this audience.
Exactly.
But I want to go to what Aaron said, right? Which is not every hotel is created equal. So when I worked for a single hotel, I wanted to control everything. I wanted a single system. I didn't want to have to deal with 15 different invoices or 60 different invoices from different vendors and have relationships with all these people that was very kind of difficult to maintain over time and required a lot of people to support. And also have team members on site that understood them, that needed to kind of stay on track and on pace with all the new developments. You move over into the brand side of things, and now it's like, oh my God, I have to think about 500 hotels and their different PMSs. It's gonna take me forever to get something new to market, to realize any sort of innovation. What's the solution for that? One system at the central level, connected to whatever it is they want to have on property. If they want to have a cash register that they buy at Best Buy, great. For me, as a brand, I can do one thing at the central level, deploy it, I'm done. Oh, it's going to be hard for operations and property to deal with. They're going to figure it out. They're going to have some sort of an SOP. They're going to figure it out. And so now when we think about it is that we no longer have the luxury to do something like that, which is like, I'm going to benefit one, which is the brand, and I'm going to sacrifice the properties because they're going to figure it out. And, will the CRSs go away? I doubt it. As I said, there's enough space for all of us, and different hotels are different. So if you're an independent that has a very focused strategy on what they want to execute on, you know who you are, you understand your brand or whatever logo is on your building, you know the service you want to deliver to your guests. You don't want to cast a wide net and connect to 300 channels that are not going to deliver anything. One single solution that makes it super easy, both for distribution perspective, reservations, front office, back office, done. It's all you have to deal with. You train people on one thing. Oh, it's now a little bit more expanded. It's global. It's different, maybe hotel owners, things you have to think about, maybe a different strategy fit. So that's why when I started off and said that there's enough room in this space for all of us, I believe it. But it's now given hoteliers more choice and allowed them to make the decisions more so on their own than being told, you're just going to have to figure it out.
So to reformulate, to make sure I understood, in your crystal ball, the way you see it, if you're a big chain, you're going to start with your CRS and accompany the vertical, the diversification of your CRS to PMS functionalities, whereas if you're an independent hotel, you'll do the other journey where you'll start with your PMS and accompany them upwards in terms of?
Yeah, I think there's a sweet spot, and I don't know what that number is, probably 100, 150, maybe even 1,000, where the scale starts to tip a little bit more, because you're like, I don't want to have to deal with all these individual hotels. But up until that point, to have a complete unified platform that delivers the right features and functionality off of the common data set for all your stakeholders is, from my perspective, the way to go, because that is only have to think about one thing to manage, one set of UIs to train people on. It can blur the lines between different roles. So no longer do I have to be a front desk person only. Maybe tomorrow my shift is in banquets. I don't need to learn yet another thing that I need to do. I have different components that will help me, for my day job today, which may be a little bit different tomorrow. And that enriches people's lives and roles and, gives them other career opportunities versus I'm front desk till the end of time, which, by the way, I love. I'm hoping when I retire, I'm going to work front desk again. Awesome job.
Thank you. Adam, did you bring your crystal ball with you?
Oh, I forgot it in warm San Diego. No.
Too bad.
I actually agree a lot with Tanya. I think the really interesting fascination that I've seen is 7 channels is actually the ideal channel mixture, and one of them is brand.com, and Meta is probably playing in there a little bit if you sprinkle in it correctly. As distribution at the center of Cloudbeds and interface, it's not an interface. It's actually just to your point, the way you're teaching your staff to interact with your system sort of blends roles. We have 250 room properties that are running with 2 people. And we can onboard a property of 250 rooms in 1 hour. And we can train a staff in less than an hour using micro-learning through a university. That research is because we're a top 10 distributor for Booking.com globally. We didn't do that as a single platform. We did that as a beautifully designed ecosystem that makes hoteliers more flexible in how they operate. And so flexibility, I think, is key here. We are absolutely versatile. We have open APIs, we have open marketplace players, we partner with CRSs, we partner with channel managers. So it's not necessarily us, it's that woven ecosystem that we think is where we're going, and I think that's what you said too.
I just want to make a public confession linked to the point both of you are making. For someone who's been working an inordinate amount of years in hotel chains, even though you know this intellectually, if you work at a hotel chain, you do have a bit of a tendency to think, well, the hotel will figure it out. But actually, to your point about I'm in front office and I know front office, and why do I need a different system? It's actually very cumbersome for hotel owners who are struggling with attracting the right level of talent and pay scales and so on. So the more the systems can support interoperability of stuff, the better. Aaron.
So crystal ball. So I think we see kind of in your chains and some of your mid-market, you have this very, very fragmented PMS. So it's much easier to have 5 different PMSs and they're all standardized on one CRS. So if you acquire a new property, well, all they have to do is change their CRS, or maybe they're already on the same CRS. It's much more difficult to go in there and acquire 10 properties, and then we're doing 5 new conversions with PMSs. So again, that's not really a challenge when you look at your single operator or your 2-unit, 3-unit operator. They have the freedom. They can move quicker to say, well, this is what we're going to use, and we're going to perhaps do kind of an all-in-one approach with that.
All right, Jacob?
I think I'll echo a little bit of something that Adam said. I think that flexibility is really important. There's not one solution that meets everyone's needs. But for me, it's also, it's sad, we all know this, but distribution is a completely underinvested in area of hotel technology as well as hotel teams. We run on laser thin teams that are working on implementing this stuff. And I would say even more so than lack of technology is lack of hours in the day. So whether that's managing inventory in a PMS that is bringing, direct connected, two-way, real-time, what have you, to a CRS, it's what can save time so that distribution folks can not focus on just the building of rates and managing market codes, but actually focus on profitability. That is something that is wildly unappreciated in the role of distribution. And it's something, and I'm about to piss off revenue managers if they're here, it's something that we've let revenue management take control of, and it's not what they're focused on. They want to focus on top line, where distribution's role is to focus on profitability.
Well, that's a very strong statement. I think everybody likes profitability, even revenue managers. So talking of this, we're going to go the reverse. Jacob, starting with you. In our conversation so far, and by the way, we're doing great because we've just finished question 1. And we only have 6 minutes left, so we'll still have to decide whether we do Act 2 or not, or whether Act 1 takes the entire trilogy. But my question was, implicitly in our conversation so far, we've talked about one product and one product only, which is a bedroom in a hotel. But are there not other types of products where your companies can profitably help in terms of inventorying them and distributing them?
Jason actually brought up a good example with the TWA Hotel, which is the hotel he was referencing from Time Morse, which runs on Stayntouch. A pretty unique property. It has an entirely hourly booking engine and runs off of our hourly model. So that hotel during COVID actually ran at times over 105% occupancy and generated over $3 million a year of additional revenue because we were able to turn rooms 4 times a day. And that's, it's easy to just break up a room into little segments. But when you factor in union housekeeping time, those credits that you have to do, revenue management on top of that, it's wildly important. So, I do think ancillary spend and revenue is important, and that's something that needs to be done both at the PMS and the CRS level.
I am so glad you brought this up. So at Mews, we have your traditional nightly, that's heads and beds, but we also have daily, and then we also have hourly, and we have monthly. The challenge is distribution isn't there. So brand.com is how we can distribute this. Or if you're booking your nightly through the brand.com booking engine, which we offer, then you can add on those hourly stays. It's very much impossible to do that outside of brand.com in 2024 now. I don't know if we'll get there in 2025 or 2028, but it's quite challenging to sell all of this together. With that shared inventory, we don't really care. Is it a room? Is it a pool cabana? Is it an office space? Is it an office space that we also sell as a room at night? It's all the same inventory. It's a perishable product. If I don't sell it, well, we're not making any money off of it.
The trick, of course, in the case of a managed hotel, is to read the management contract and see what the chain is in. Because, well, it's true. It's going to have an impact on the priority, isn't it? Adam.
I 100% agree. I mean, merchandising, this is about just taking space, real estate on a per square footage basis and maximizing revenue, and then looking at it in a multi-dimensional way. Our split inventory technology allows you to daisy chain multiple rooms that could be neighboring and create one new additional room category, sell that through distribution because we have those deep relationships with those partners. And so I echo it in spirit of time.
All right, Tanya?
Ditto, ditto, ditto. In addition to that, it's exactly the reason why we introduced Opera Cloud Central to our already existing Opera Cloud property, is to be able to merchandise every single thing that a hotel considers inventory, right? So whether that be a guest room, meeting space, cabana by the pool, beach chair, cot, crib, anything like that, through many different points of contact. That was really the reason for it, because yes, reaching beyond just the traditional guest room is where all that auxiliary revenue and the revenue opportunities arise, as well as sort of bridging that gap between what is traditionally considered to be done at a central level through distribution touch points versus on property, so that absolutely that promise that's made to the guest at the very first interaction, i.e. time of reservation, is something that can get fulfilled once they get on property and ultimately collected through the back office financial module. So.
Thank you. So obviously I'm doing a terrible job. I had been instructed by HEDNA to make sure that the panelists don't agree too much among themselves. It's a complete failure. I'm never going to be invited again. We have 2 minutes left, so in a last attempt to try and find a difference between you, what if I was going to ask you in 30 seconds to tell the audience what differentiates your company from your competition? 30 seconds.
Oh, 30 seconds, okay. I mean, in the end, it's like, who do you want to go into trenches with? Who do you want to have a relationship with? All of us are here because we want to work together for the good of the industry. And I'm not being altruistic as a Canadian, although yes, that's in my DNA. But we want to give hoteliers choice. So we can go out there and say, we're the largest, we have 40,000 hotels around the world that use our property management system. We've now just extended beyond that to offer central capabilities, for sure. But there's other things that perhaps somebody else on the stage has. So I love the fact that we're giving the industry choice. I wanted to, as a hotelier myself, and I always say that I'm first and foremost a hotelier, I love the fact that there's new entrants in the market, that all of us are trying to be better and one-up each other for the goodness of the industry itself. So to me, that is really, really great.
So in other words, Oracle, we're dominant, but we're happy for you, hotel, to look at that competitors. Thank you.
Mic drop.
Adam, 30 seconds. Cloudbeds.
Oh, wow. Look, we are the best kept secret in this room because most of you, as you raise your hand, haven't seen what we're capable of. And I'm proud of that because what we have done to date and what we're doing for all of this industry to be altruistic is really powerful. By taking distribution and demand generation, the guest journey, operations, and data intelligence, and putting that into a platform, a true platform, we're doing two things for over 22,000 hotels around the world in 157 markets. We did that in 5 years. We take the art of hospitality and the business hospitality and we give that back into your control for the first time, and we're not forcing you to migrate to the cloud.
I'm not going to challenge that. Aaron?
So I think if anyone was at High Tech, they saw us running around in the pink jumpsuits. I think it's kind of obvious that Mews were a little bit different, but we were built by hoteliers, and we really are just trying to be innovative. I mean, we're just trying to continue to push the edge in this and make it a better experience, because historically it just has been a really lousy experience with technology. It's really just a pain point, and technology has basically been a handcuffs on the operators, and it's with the cloud you're just able to do so much more, and that's we just want to enable those operations to be so much better.
All right, last but not least, Jacob.
I've got a pretty simple one, customer support. Everyone who's worked in hospitality knows nothing goes right the first time in hotels. And hotel managers, owners, operators are not technologists. So for me, it's about that partnership of customer support. When things don't go right or there's a bump in the road, our teams are there with you to support you through and get you through it. I coach our teams. We don't really sell technology, we sell change management. The folks over at Mews are doing a great job of raising all boats with innovation, and I'm wildly appreciative of that. But at the end of the day, it's got to work right, and you need teams there supporting it.
It does.
Stay out. No, sorry, not implying there doesn't. But overall, systems need to.
All right, listen, you've been an amazing panel. Thank you very much. But I do think it's fair to leave Act 2 a chance to talk about CRS, don't you? All right, thank you.